Of all things west, let's head over to Western Australia where we are expecting elevated fire danger in the coming days, and this once again is due to heat.
Yeah, we just spoke to Grace at the Bureau about this. He's talking about the heat through inland parts of Western Australia. So this is the forecast fire danger on Wednesday. The black shading shows catastrophic, the highest possible fire danger. Now, just as an example, in the interior on that day, we'll have temperatures in the low 40s and winds averaging up to 40 kilometres per hour. So we're not talking about gale force winds, but when you have extremely low humidity and temperatures over 40, well, that's catastrophic fire danger. Also, for the eastern inland Pilbara, we'll have a catastrophic fire danger and an extreme fire danger, the red, for other parts of the Pilbara, the northern interior, and a severe for the Gascoyne. Thursday is the other day where we'll see elevated fire dangers, this time mostly for the eastern half of WA. Catastrophic this time for the northern interior and still extreme for the southern interior and the eastern inland Pilbara. So, Shelley, fires during this period will be fast-moving. They'll be unpredictable and almost impossible to control. And when you have that kind of weather, you can get spot fires even up to 20 kilometres ahead of the main fire front. So it will be quite a dangerous couple of days in that area.
It's worth noting you should stay tuned here on Sky News Weather because we have our full bushfire report coming up, and there are other parts of the country which will have elevated fire danger over the course of this week. And if you're in one of these areas, it's really the time to get your bushfire survival plan ready now if you don't already, because situations can change, different roads can close. It's worth updating those plans because you don't want the day the fire comes to be the day you sit down and have a look at it. Okay, let's head overseas now to Spain, where we have seen people forced out of their homes and heavy rainfall resulting in flash flooding in the southern province of Malaga. Now, it's killed at least one firefighter in the town of Camplillo. Cars washed down the street and were left in wrecked piles as we saw these floodwaters starting to subside. They estimate around 400 millimetres of rain fell in 24 hours in Ardales, which is around 62 kilometres away from Malaga. That's according to the regional government's environmental department. The firefighter who was killed was in a truck with some colleagues when it overturned. Now, his companions were rescued. However, the one of those firefighters was unfortunately later found killed, Tom.
That's an incredible amount of rain for Spain. 400 millimetres. I mean, Spain's not a particularly wet country. It's got a Mediterranean climate. 400 millimetres, that'd be close to a year's worth of rain falling in one day. Incredible.
Which is why we had such dramatic scenes there, of course. And remaining overseas as we head to Colombia now, where we've seen 9 people killed as a result of landslides after heavy rainfall in the central town of Barranca Bermeja.
Love the pronunciation, Shelley.
We tried. I think it's Barranca, actually. But this is where the main Colombian petroleum refinery is located there, and basically what happened was this landslide buried 3 homes and unfortunately 5 children are actually among the dead here. It happened in a low-income neighbourhood. Landslides, unfortunately, aren't uncommon in this area. It happens quite a bit in the mountains here, and because there are so many of these low-income homes, they're not made with the best structural integrity, so that's when things like this unfortunately happen there.
That is tragic. It's actually quite unusual considering we're going into El Nino. Typically, Colombia is a country that, like Australia, sees below average rainfall during El Nino years. They often see droughts during El Nino years. It's very unusual, actually, that you'd see heavy rain and flooding. In the forecast for that area, further heavy rain and flooding, 24-hour totals likely to exceed 100 millimetres from storms in the next few days in that area.
Wow, so very unusual, as you say.
It is quite unusual, but yeah, look, it's been a strange El Nino because typically by now, if you're going to get an El Nino, you would have had it by now. We still have it emerging. We're already halfway through spring. They normally develop in the winter. Now, as a result of it being an unusual El Nino, probably the weather impacts won't be your classical impacts that you see from a more typical El Nino.
Okay, let's have a look at how all of that climatology is impacting on weather back home. Let's check out what's happening in